1941, a date that lives in infamy. 65 years ago today, on a quiet Sunday morning in Hawaii, the Japanese attacked, and the U.S. was suddenly in the middle of World War II. Tom Fallon was right in the middle of the attack.
KI0KS and the Pearl Harbor net.
It's Tuesday morning, time for Tom Fallon to raise some old friends on his ham radio. Twice a week, these Pearl Harbor survivors touch base, or at least try, when conditions are not ideal.
Send him an email. It'd be a little easier, wouldn't it? No?
You're right.
Not his style. In fact, it was his love of radios that led him to Hawaii on that day of infamy 65 years ago. A lifelong employee of RCA, he enlisted in the Naval Reserve to be trained as a radio operator. He was in it for the money.
For my big $16 a week, they were making like 25 to 30. I thought to myself, boy, that's what I need, $25 a week.
But the raise and his sweetheart in New York City would have to wait. That beautiful Sunday morning, he was up early and took a small launch across the harbor to attend Mass.
When we pulled up on the fleet dock, we saw planes coming over, you know. And at first, it just looked like maybe a practice drill, which they occasionally had on a Sunday, right? But then we saw the torpedoes being dropped, you know. And then you had to look up and saw the rising sun on the wing, you know.
Wow.
The first word that would come to our head, war.
Of course it was. In that stunning surprise attack, the Japanese sunk or damaged 21 U.S. ships and took more than 2,400 lives. Tom Fallon was fortunate. His ship, the USS Phelps, was a destroyer, and the Japanese aimed primarily for the big battleships. The Phelps steamed out of Pearl Harbor 4 hours after the attack was over, returning 4 days later.
That's when the real shock, because we hadn't seen all this destruction, you know.
Yeah.
Came back 4 days later, and wow, it looked terrible.
Tom soon transferred to another ship, the USS Detroit. It was there in Tokyo Harbor on September 2nd, 1945, right beside the battleship Missouri, where the Japanese surrendered. Then it was home to get that raise and marry that girl, to raise 5 children, and eventually dote on 8 grandchildren. An ordinary guy who lived to tell the tale of an extraordinary day when the future changed in an instant.
What will your thoughts be on this anniversary? This has been a few years now.
65 years.
Yes, sir.
Till I got so old. You know, after all, the way through the years, probably just did my duty, you know.
Just did his duty. Well, that's saying it, understating a little bit, Tom. Today, Tom Fallon and some of his kids and grandkids will appear at an anniversary commemoration. Organizers of Pearl Harbor reunions say this may be their last anniversary gathering, most of them now in their 80s and 90s. We sure owe them all a debt of gratitude.
Yeah, there's not a lot of them left to tell the story over and over again. That's a nice story.
I think he's got a few good years left.
Yeah, he sure looks like it.
Yeah.
Straight ahead this morning.